This week on the High Limit Room, James McFadden joins the show to talk about High Limit International, his 2025 Australian Sprint Car season, and his future plans for American Sprint Car racing in 2026, all on this week's episode of the High Limit Room. All right, joining us this week here on the High Limit Room is James McFadden, obviously former high roller, two-time winner last year during High Limit International. And James, we're going to tell you a good morning over there, as it is 6 p.m. here in Ohio and Indiana, where Tony and I are at 10 a.m. over on the east coast of Australia. So good morning, and thanks for joining us this week on the High Limit Room. It'll be great to catch up with you this week.
Yeah, g'day fellas, good to see you. Got me morning coffee, dropped the kid off to kindergarten, so it's a little different to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, we're just getting done with work and whatnot here today. But James, it's like I said, it's great to catch up with you. Obviously, a big race coming up here in about a week or so with High Limit International. Obviously, at the Perth Motorplex, $110,000 to win on the finale. 3-day show. As I mentioned earlier, you won 2 of those races last year, came second on the finale. How much are you looking forward to getting back there for Perth Motorplex? You only raced there once so far this year. I've been trying to keep up with all the Australian Sprint Car race. You've been down there once this year, but it's going to be a great event and a stacked field coming up.
Yeah, I can't wait. Obviously, Perth Motorplex, as you guys know, is one of the all-time facilities in the world. They put on such a great event, a great show. And then to have the caliber of drivers coming over from the States, Mav actually said to me 2 days ago, he's like, oh man, all of the high limit guys from the 83 days are coming over. It's going to be cool. So, he's pumped up. I'm pumped. I'm pumped for our sport over here. I think for us, it showcases how strong our sport is in Australia and how strong our drivers are. I think a lot of the guys are going to have trouble with some of the local guys in Perth, and then obviously, have Jock and myself over there as well. So yeah, we're excited to get after it. Hopefully the 110 can stay in Australia and go into my bank account this year.
Later we'll have to find out what you'd be spending that $110,000 on, James. Probably not beard trimming, maybe beard accessories, perhaps. It looks good. You are a mainstay in North American sprint car racing, and just a little while before we began this recording, Chase and I were just talking about, like he said, trying to keep up and stay on top of what's going on down there. And for a sport that is, pretty universally the same, a sprint car is a sprint car is a sprint car, I'm interested in what you think are some of, or maybe just the biggest difference between North American sprint car racing and Australian sprint car racing. Obviously, you've had a successful career in both. Is one thing stand out to you that would be a strong difference between the two worlds?
I think probably up until this year, the tires and the wings rule has been different, but I feel like the tire change this year that Australia's had is a lot closer to America than it ever has been. I think the biggest difference is our tire here is 18 inches wide, not 16, like yours is. And a lot of guys are running flat wings over here now. So I guess the biggest thing would be in car wise would be that. But I think I think there's just so many people in America, right? So there's so many more cars to race, so many more different regions. We have very strict rules with fence heights and openings and fences and things like that we have to adhere to. So we only kind of race on the same sort of 10, 15 tracks a year. Although we have a bunch of tracks in Australia, we're not allowed to race on them in a sprint car. So I feel like we probably don't have the variety of different dirts, then obviously different competition levels, the PA Posse, the California, the different ways you race between each state is a lot different over there. I'd say that was probably the biggest change for me, was to get used to different dirts and, different ways you race. Like the California style is elbows up with the rough tracks, kind of big cushions, and then you go to Pennsylvania and you don't move your hands for 30 laps. So it's a lot different.
Well, James, you've been tearing it up over there here this year in Australia. You got 3 wins already. Got that one over at I think what they call the Napa Speedway, right? The Adelaide Showdown, and then got 2 wins over at Mildura Speedway, which both those tracks are new to me. I hope I said that correctly. I'm not exactly sure if I did. Had a second place run in your only appearance at Perth this year. I'm still trying to figure all this out. Did you race mainly on the East Coast last year as well before coming back over for High Limit International? Were you kind of on the West Coast more, and then when High Limit International came over, you were already there? What's going on? Is your schedule a little bit different out there this year?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. My team's from Perth, so they're from the West Coast. So Sheldon and Buzzy and all the guys live in WA in Perth. So we started the season probably a little later this year than what we did last year, and I've just done those 1 race. But then the Adelaide Invitational race had 4 races leading into it over in the East Coast here, and 4 races afterwards. So it was kind of worth us traveling to hit some of the bigger races pre-Christmas, which is kind of has been a bit of a, I would say a pick and choose style thing for a lot of years in Australia, where you could stay in Perth or stay up in Brisbane or Toowoomba or stay down this area. But with the prize money and the way they scheduled it this year, it was worth sort of traveling a little bit. So last year I did 2 races in Perth before High Limit, and this year we'll probably just do the 1. So hopefully it hasn't hurt us, but I've been around Perth a few times. I think we should be okay.
All I know about Australia is that now I know that you're not from Sydney, New South Wales. You're from Alice Springs, Northern Territory. And the next thing I know about Australia is that it's a large piece of land. It's actually really close in size, the continent, to the United States. But all of your guys' population is along the coastline, and there's really not very much in the middle of the country. And then the coastline is how you guys will get the race cars from the East Coast to the West Coast. I know your team is based in Perth, but with you coming over to race at Perth, not as often as you would tracks on the East Coast, how much do you look forward to going to the Perth Motorplex and getting to compete at a facility like that?
Yeah, that was a really long-winded question.
Yeah,
I was kind of confused there for a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was trying to figure out what I was going to ask you there in the middle of it, because I got so messed up on where you're from. I forgot what I wanted to ask. But Burnett will trim all that out.
So Alice Springs is right in the middle of Australia, the desert, right in the middle. That's where I grew up. So yeah, that's a different story, not Sydney. But yeah, so I live in Warrnambool, which is obviously where the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic is. And that is, Buzzy just left yesterday to go back to Perth. So he'll have a 38, 40 hour drive back to Perth. So it's probably like racing at Knoxville and then going to California, like that trip we do, so many times in the motorhome. But yeah, to go over to Perth is it's great. Like for me, we take the whole family over. The weather's great. The beaches are good. The food's good over there. So you kind of get a bit of a holiday and then get to race at, like I said, one of the best facilities in the world. And they do such a good job of their promotion and the way they set up the track, the way the track races, the way the pit area is. Like, it's just an enjoyable place to be. And I get excited racing over there. It's different. You can get a different track each night where you can kind of have the Eldora style and pound the fence, or you can go and, float the middle and the bottom like we did a few times last year. So yeah, always enjoy it. Gavin and the team do a phenomenal job over there. And I think they've stepped the whole of sprint car racing up in Australia for sure.
James, the field, I mentioned it briefly earlier on, but it is going to be absolutely stacked. You've got you got second and third in the Outlaw point standings this year with Carson and Buddy. You got Cole Macedo also going to be there. And then you've got, Rico is going to be healthy this time around. You've got Reitzel that's going to be there. He'll be a great addition. Obviously, Brad, Corey Day, Kyle Larson. I mean, I feel like this event was super hyped up last year, but it's got to feel being over there, it's got to feel even more hyped up this year with those guys coming over. And I know this doesn't mean much, but, my parents decide, hey, we're going to Australia. We're going to check it out. My dad doesn't like flying, but he just chose to go on the longest flight of all time. You met him once at the Gold Cup bikini party. I'm not sure if you remember that or not, but I'm sure he'll be talking your ear off again. But it just seems like there's so much excitement around it this year due to the guys that are coming over to try and face off against Australia's best.
Yeah, it's exciting for us. I don't know if you guys know, probably 06, 07, maybe even 08, we had the Outlaws Down Under come, and all of the teams brought their cars down, and the Australian vibe was huge, and that changed the landscape in Australia a lot. That's when Australia moved to 410 cubic inch engines, and then guys were shipping better cars over and stepping up. So I feel like this has that same vibe. I think it's going to change the landscape in Australia, and even for team owners, like Rico's done and bought his own stuff out. I know Brad's running, a lot of his own stuff. So, Americans can't just come over here anymore and jump in cars and be 100% competitive. You've seen that with Kyle over the years with the Classic. And I think it shows that we have depth over here, but then it also shows that paying $110,000 a win is pick the ears up of a lot of guys over there that want to come and race, and team owners. So for me, I'm excited. I love the fact that everyone's doing what I always do and go over there for the time. So yeah, I think it's going to be great. Like for our sport, especially in the eyes, I felt like in America this year, I had a lot of people, tell me that they're going to come over and watch that race. So that's all we need as a sport to get more eyes on it internationally. And, what you guys do at High Limit has stepped that program up a lot.
Well, I'm glad you brought up the Outlaws coming to Australia all those years ago, James. And, it's not meant to be too much in the weeds, but I'm interested. You talked about the vibe, and it felt like Australia really looked forward to that event, and all these superstars from North America coming down. Now move that event or move that hype to 2025, 2026. Are there conversations amongst you guys, you regular Australian racers down there, the guys that you compete against often, team members, car owners, other race car drivers? Is there a buzz just amongst yourselves talking about this upcoming event with High Limit and so many Americans coming down?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually raced that Outlaws Down Under. That's how long I've been racing now. It's quite a few years ago, but I remember as a 16, 17-year-old kid going to that race thinking, holy shit, I'm getting to race Steve Kinzer, Donnie Schatz, the guys, Sammy Swindell. It was pretty wild. They were the guys I played on the PlayStation game, and then, you're lining up next to them. So I think that vibe's going to be a lot for not just the racers, but the fans on the hill, the young kids on the hill that aspire to be a race car driver or a sprint car driver. They're going to sit on the hill and be like, man, I can go and race Kyle Larson and Corey Day and these guys and get my shot at, proving that maybe we are good enough to be there. So yeah, I feel like the vibe is the Classic obviously is our biggest crown jewel. In Australia is in, for the accolades, I guess. When you win the Classic, you're pumped. But I do think the High Limit race is quickly becoming, up on par with that as something that Australians want to win.
Well, ever since we started doing High Limit International, I've been learning a lot. And one thing that I've noticed in the comment sections on certain posts about the race, especially from Australian fans, is, how do we get more? Why aren't all these East Coast guys coming over? I mean, you mentioned the Classic. That's on the East Coast. That's, the Knoxville Nationals of Australian sprint car racing. Doesn't pay quite as much, obviously, as High Limit International. But you see that at the Classic, a lot of the West Coast guys come over and run that race. Why do you think it is that the East Coast guys don't come over and run, WA over there and run High Limit International? Is it because of the scheduling time? I know there's a speed week going on there, or is there something else?
Oh, I think there's a combination of things. Perth is so much different to any other track we have in Australia. It would be, in comparison, I would say it's like, California. You just race on Chico and Placerville and places like that. So that's the East Coast, right? Our biggest track is Warrnambool, which I think the lap record there is 9.9. So, you know, it's a Peevely style size track, and that would be our biggest one in Victoria. So to go to WA and be competitive, you need to go 4 or 5 times a year and have a different deal. It's like being going to Pennsylvania. You can't just show up to Pennsylvania and be fast. It's a tough place to get your program. So one, I think that scares people away a little bit. And I think Speed Week has been so that starts Boxing Day from Murray Bridge through to Mangambia, Avalon, Warrnambool. And then the teams go up to Toowoomba and that after that. So that's been a staple, in Australia for 25, 30 years. That's what World Series used to do. So I think that's probably got a little bit. Obviously the prize money's not as big. The car counts are big though. And then I think another really big thing is we don't have the amount of professional teams over here like America does. So there's probably 5 to 6 full-time race teams in Australia where that's, crew chiefs, tyre guys, etc. So most guys that work on the cars or drive the cars or own the cars are, your 9 to 5 guys. So they can only have a certain amount of time off of work. And then, so for them, that's probably easier and more cost effective to stay here. So it's a hard thing. It sucks. There's probably 10 guys that I would love to see go to Perth and mix it up. Obviously that makes our job in Perth a little easier without those 10 guys. But yeah, I think that's probably your 3 big things, that change that, unfortunately. But Perth is a long way away from everything.
Yeah, it's especially a long way away from the Midwest of the United States of America. We're going to get to enjoy that trip out there, like Chase said, and just over.
You'd be in business class, wouldn't you, out the front?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what Brad offered us, and we both said, no, we're good company, man. We want to save High Limit some money, put it towards the High Roller Club. Let's get these teams making a little bit more. We'll sit in the back by the lavatories and hand out mints.
Brad would definitely be down the back.
Yeah, no. Although I do know Toby Balboa just flew home from doing all of his stuff with Rico this year, and he called to brag to me on the way to the airport that he got promoted. He got bumped up to business class, and
that's nice.
Yeah, for the long flight from Dallas to Sydney, and I was like, well, that's great, Toby. I'm happy for you. I hope it's a smooth flight.
I don't think we have enough Qantas points to qualify for that.
We certainly don't. But also, Chase, remember, JP had to book your flights, and you got exit row. I'm not even exit row, so you're going to be flying in style. James, you came back and you did 9 races with High Limit this past season, a couple top 5s. I think your best finish was a 4th during the Gold Cup Race of Champions. And you came back before the High Limit races. You did some outlaw stuff. You cleaned up at NARC, right? How much do you keep your eyes on North American sprint car racing when you're back home in Australia?
Yeah, a lot. I'm still extremely big fan of the sport. I miss it a lot. Like I do miss the up and down traveling of the, being that aggressive schedule. But yeah, I watch as much as we can. Obviously life's a little bit different now. I mow the lawns at that time of the morning and, drop the kid off to kindergarten and stuff like that. But, definitely keep it in, close eye. Obviously have good relationships with a lot of the guys that are on the road and keep in contact. So, yeah, definitely keep the eyes on it. Sometimes I don't when it's a really good track because I miss being there. But it's definitely good to sit down and watch it on flow. Really, honestly, mate, it makes it so much easier to follow and get results.
Yeah.
Kind of have a 2-part question here. Obviously, we know that your crew chief is Kim Buswell down there, and you guys obviously were extremely fast last year and already got a couple wins this year. Now, with High Limit International coming this year, we know that Buddy Kofoid's going to be driving Trent Pigden's car, and Kim's son Dylan is going to be working on his car, it sounds like, going down there. And obviously, they just had a great year on the Outlaw Tour. How weird is that? I mean, how close are you with Dylan as compared to Kim? And, that's a kind of a weird deal going on. I feel like you guys are going to be competing on the track, you versus Buddy, but then it's going to be, Kim versus Dylan, as the crew chiefs there as well.
It's no different to me and Drew Warner and Ricky Warner, I guess. It's going to be different. I know Kim will probably be an open book because it's your son, and Dylan will shut his book and try and win the race. So it'll be interesting. Dylan and I are good mates. We've been mates for a long time. We raced together a few times and actually tried to hire him a couple of times in America. And he's done an awesome job. It's great to see how far he's come, and I've known him. We've known each other for a long time, so it's cool to see their results. Buddy's obviously driving well, and Trent Pigden's got great gear. I believe they've all of their stuff from their American team over. So that's going to be tough, obviously. Yeah, it's going to be hard for Buzzy and Buzzy to manage, between relationships and obviously winning races. So it'll be good. It'll be fun. Hopefully we can win and beat them. That'd be nice. Little feather in the cap for old man Buzzy. So I don't know. Dylan's been solid. He talks his crew chief of the year up to his old man a lot. So it'll be interesting to see.
James, the reason I ask about, excuse me, what you keep an eye on and what you don't was, I thought High Limit 2025 was a pretty crazy season. At points, it was kind of a survival of the fittest or really last man standing. It felt like when we got to the middle of the summer, Brad gets hurt at Eldora. Aaron gets hurt at Eldora. Tyler gets hurt at Eldora. And, all of them, with the exception of Tyler, return later in that season, and it sounds like Tyler's, hopefully back in the car this spring. But I don't know. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what you saw of High Limit in 2025. Were there any surprises? Did a driver stand out? What do you think of what you were able to watch back home on Flo?
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting year. I was there at Eldora, obviously, and that was kind of one of the most somber races the next day when after, I'd, been to a lot of driver intros and stuff, and everyone was not really talking, and it was kind of a weird vibe there, at the end, but hopefully, everyone got out of there safely at the end of the day. So everyone's going to be able to race again, but yeah, scary, few weeks, obviously for the sport, but, I found it pretty interesting, to watch the point steal. That was a lot of fun. Obviously hard to keep track of. Like at one point, I thought Rico had thrown it away, and then they got trucking, and then Aaron got, obviously Justin Sanders did a great job for the RSR team, and then Aaron got trucking, and it kind of come down close. And Brad had a lot of mistakes that you kind of don't really see out of Brad, whether that was car and driving. And it's probably the first time he's been on the back foot for a while too. So it was fun to watch him rally back and obviously team changes and things like that make it tough. But yeah, it was fun. And then you got, guys like, if they can string the whole nights together, like if Tanner Thorson can qualify, he's going to be a threat every night. And then if Cy Lynch can get the end of the races, sorted, he can qualify and do the first bit of the meeting unbelievably. So it'll be fun this year to watch those guys, see what they've learnt from the year, and then the guys that are coming back for their second time. And then new teams like, Gio's on the road with Eric. Eric's a great mechanic, as we know that. So, I think 50 to 80% of this sport now is mechanics. So to have him on your side is a really big feather in your cap. So yeah, I'm excited to see kind of what next year brings, but as of 2025, it was fun to watch. I think the championship battle it was kind of like the playoffs without actually being the playoffs. Every night there was someone different leading it, and someone, who's going to be hurt or who's going to stuff up today. So obviously Rico was a deserving champion. It was cool to see that team and what they built, and they're going to be tough to beat as well.
Well, we've talked about 2025 plenty. We've talked about High Limit International quite a bit as well, but 2026, now I'm not exactly sure what you can say or what, I don't know what's going on there, but obviously you ran the Tarleton car this year, 29 races, got quite a few wins, including the Capitani Classic, which was a huge one, I know, for Drew Warner and Tommy as well. They were going crazy in victory lane. But what does 2026 look like for you in America if you are able to reveal those details? Are you back with Tarleton? Are you trying to put something else together?
Yeah, I'll be back with Tarleton. I had a lot of fun with those guys, and everything's kind of worked out all right. We've had another kid just recently, so we'll be able to come over and spend a bit more time there with the whole family. So yeah, the plan is, Drew sent me a schedule the other day. It was like 80 races. I said, well, back it down, mate, back it down. We'll have to look at that a little harder here in the next few weeks. But I think a similar schedule to what I did this year suited me great. Mavericks obviously starts real school this year on 2026, so we've got to make sure he's back for that. But yeah, we're planning on coming back with Tarleton and doing, sort of similar style schedules. I kind of want to be there for the Vegas high limit races, so hopefully that's something we can pull off.
So real quick, if it's similar to last year, does that mean that they're going to try and have somebody else split the seat with you again?
Not sure on that.
Okay.
Not sure. I would say so. Like I said, I can only commit to a certain amount of races, and we're just going to sit down and have a look at those right now and kind of pick the ones that I think are, worth doing for me and the ones that the team wants to do as well.
Oh boy, James, this is not going well for Chase. He's trying to get whiteboard content, and you are not as good of a source of information as he would like. So sorry.
I do watch that. It's actually not bad to watch. He does a good job.
Yeah, thanks. Tony thinks it sucks, so I appreciate it.
I've never once said I think that it sucks. I'm not sure about some of the information we put out on it every once in a while. You brought it up, and I didn't know, how public it was. Obviously, I think you guys have posted about it, but you just mentioned you and Zoe had your second child, and that looks exciting. I don't really know much more than that. I know that was the reason. I believe that was the reason she didn't come over to the States with you for the back half of the summer trip. So that's exciting. Congratulations. How's that all been?
Yeah, good. Ryder is his name. He what is he now? 9 weeks old, 10 weeks old.
It's a good age.
No, it's not. They just shit and cry, and it's good. It's actually, he's the last couple of weeks, he's up and about, which is good. It's been fun. Maverick loves being a big brother. Yeah, it's definitely, life-changing again. One's quite easy. Two's a little tougher. You're starting to run out of arms. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, mate. We're having a good time over here, and like I said, Maverick's getting ready for school, and Ryder's up and about. So we traveling to Perth is a little harder. We've got the whole row now, and one on the lap. So it's going to be busy.
Cool.
Speaking of driving around, I was meaning to ask you about the motorhome situation over here. Is that thing parked somewhere, or did you ship it over there on a cargo ship, or I mean, what's up with the motorhome these days?
It's at Drew Brenner. You remember Drew Brenner?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
The storage location.
Yeah, he has forward storage, so it's parked up there, and it's for sale. If anyone wants to buy it, just go and ring him up and grab it. I don't need a big money pit anymore.
You're not planning on driving that next year at all?
No, probably not, mate. When we had the family over there and traveling, it was a great thing to have, but cost a lot of money to have, obviously, to race less and not have the end of year point fund and things like that. It's probably something that's a little silly to own, but it was a lot of fun, a lot of great memories in that thing for sure.
Our producer's asking how much for the motorhome.
Yeah,
you have a price tag on it.
Chase likes to stretch his legs out.
Australian or American?
Yeah, probably American.
We might be in the market for that, Chase, and I like to stretch our legs out when we drive. And Brad's caught us doing a lot of driving this coming 2026. Yeah, the schedule's got a lot more, overnights from one track to a different track, and not as many 2 and 3 night shows in one place. I like those 3 nights in one place. Those are easy.
Clearly, he's not driving anymore. That's why.
Yeah, he's he'll just take the high limit jet into a few of those races and then work. And then I had never thought about it. That's a good point. That's why the schedule looks so different, Chase.
Yeah, I used to abuse it. I used to abuse Brad every Sunday going up and down the road. I'd ring Casey and I'd be like, I do not like this guy. I got to drive another 6 fucking hours down the road. So sorry my language there, but that's exactly what I'd say.
We don't bleep any words out on this show, so
It's raw and real.
You mentioned Brad there, and obviously one of the biggest announcements of the year was him retiring. And that wasn't the only thing, right? I mean, there was a lot that happened this year in sprint car racing. James, if you had to pick one thing, what would you say was maybe the biggest storyline that happened in 2020? Obviously, the Donnie Schatz and TSR thing was maybe at the tippity top, but maybe the Brad Sweet, maybe the new Spire Motorsports thing, maybe the High Limit franchise. Is there something that really sticks out to you in sprint car racing that was maybe the biggest storyline to you?
Brad's thing wasn't really a surprise to me. I know we'd had a few conversations about it and how I liked my time off. So that wasn't a surprise, but obviously big for the sport. Brad's been the top guy for 10 years now over there, and it was huge. And, obviously he's got a lot on his plate now with what he's doing for the sport over there. So I could see that coming at some point. The Donnie Tony thing was crazy to me. For Donnie not to finish his career at the 15 at TSR, I think was huge. But sometimes the ship sails, mate. That's the way life rolls. It's better to leave a deal with a friendship than it is to wear it out. So yeah, I don't know. There's a lot going on in the sport. I think the injury things to me were the craziest part of the whole year, and just Eldora having the helicopter running the whole time basically was pretty wild. So yeah, and like I said, the points deal was the most intriguing part of the year for me to watch. So yeah, hopefully this year's a little calmer.
I agree with it had to be, like you said, you had conversations with Brad, James, so you probably had a little bit more insight than the average person, but I mean, you joked at the banquet last year about coming back a few times to send Brad once or twice, and now that opportunity isn't completely gone because all he did was retire from full-time sprint car competition, but now your chances to get even with him are much more far and few in between. So you're probably calling him saying, hey, what races are you running next year? Okay, Drew, Tarleton, these are the races we need to be at. Why? Don't ask me about it. There's probably some next-level planning going on here, right?
Well, it depends who his car owner is. I knew I could take Casey on 1-on-1, so that was fine. But if he's got a big car owner, I might have to just second guess that. No, I can't do it in Australia either because we have the primary cause rule over here, so I can't get rid of him over here. If I crash him you get sent to the rear. It's rear failure.
I thought it'd be like,
it is. I honestly think it is too. There's a few guys I'd like to get rid of.
I thought it'd be like legal action or something with the way I know there's some like government involvement in your sprint car. I didn't know if maybe you'd get hauled off in the back of the paddy wagon or something.
You could at these days. Who knows? But so I'll have to keep it American. Brad's good. He could buy me a couple beers and we'll call it good.
Couple White Claws, more likely.
Yeah, if it's
no, I don't know. No, I drink beers. He can buy me the beer. he can stay with his White Claw.
James, final question that I've got for you here, and I'm a little confused. Are you going to be the A1? Are you going to be the 23? Or are you going to be that number 5 car that I saw for High Limit International? You got like 3 different numbers going on. Are you going to be the A1 when we're there?
Yeah, we'll be the number 1 with the 23 inside it. It looks cool.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it looks good.
So we'll be the number 1. Like, Americans probably don't know, but we have to nominate numbers, right? So when you buy a car, you can't just choose any number you want. So Sheldon Brady, my team owner, as a starting up a team, you can't just choose a number. You have to have a registered number. So if you want number 5 and someone's already got it, you can't have it. So basically that's why you see people with numbers or teams, the way they are. I can't just take a number with me everywhere I go, which kind of sucks, I think, but the number one is just straight for the Australian champion that wins that one race, and you can run the one. So when you get the chance to run that, it's pretty cool. Sells a few more shirts, and the kids love it a little more. So Buzzy had never won an Australian title either, so to have a one on the car for him was cool. But yeah, we'll be one until hopefully we can defend that title again and keep the one on the car.
So was the 5 was just for that Napa race, or was that for something else?
Around the 5 this year or last year. That was the Napa race last year. Yeah, that was.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a like a partnership deal with a couple other guys, and set a car up for a few races. So, yep.
I may have saw like an old Facebook memory pop up, and I mistook it for current. I don't know what
that car there.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
James, my last question is a hard hitting, very journalistic integrity kind of question here. So I don't know if you're sitting down, but you might want to be. Sheldon Brady is your car owner. Remind me quickly, what is his father's first name?
Peter.
Peter. I had the great honor of meeting Mr. Peter Brady last year outside your team's transporter, or trolley or ute or whatever you guys call it down there. And Peter provided me, and then more to provide to Chase, grilled, maybe smoked lobster tails. So what I need to know is, are we gonna have that same kind of catering at Perth this year?
Absolutely. That's one thing our team does really, really well is food. He'll be there. He's already pumped up. He's pumped up. He loves you for some reason too. He's a big fan.
Yeah,
big fan.
I didn't get it. Somebody comes up to, I feel terrible now. Maybe it was, I don't think it was, somebody comes up to me and goes, "Hey, you got to go over to James's trailer right now. Somebody wants to talk to you." And that's never good in our world when somebody needs to talk to you. And here he is. He just pulls me around to the front of the trailer between the cab of the truck and the trailer. And he's got this big tin pan, and he pulls the foil back, and he goes and gets you. And then it's you, me, and Peter. And we all took a photo. Somebody took a photo of us like toasting grilled lobster tails together. It was pretty much the highlight of my life.
Garlic and butter. They were great. They were great in my helmet during the heat race. Absolutely beautiful.
Belching those up.
Yeah. He'll be there. He'll be up and about for sure. He'll be ready to go again.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, I had some seafood while we were down there. It was just absolutely fantastic. Well, James, we're looking forward to it here. A few days out from heading down there for Perth Motorplex High Limit International. 3 straight nights of sprint car action. Looking like over 40 cars going to be showing up. So hopefully, if you're watching this podcast, make sure to tune in on FloRacing. It's going to be fantastic. James, once again, thanks for joining us, man. And we're looking forward to seeing you here in a few days.
Thanks for having me. We'll enjoy the flight over. And we'll see you in about, 9 days or so.
Yep, thanks. That's James McFadden. Thanks for watching this week's edition of the High Limit Room.